Hello, everybody, and welcome to Hot Mess Podcast. I am your host, Matilda Johnson, and today we are getting messy. Now, if you are new here, welcome. It's a new year, it's a new me, it's a new us. So basically, Hot Mess Podcast, a little bit about me, a little bit about the pod. We are a fun and freeing place for people, I'd say technically like more so in your 20s, some late teens, although the demographic is very wide now, which we love. And we talk about the messiness of life and growing pains and overcoming emotions and your mental health, and have a lot of funny stories along the way. We interview a lot of fun people who have a lot of interesting things to say. However, today you're stuck with me. Lucky you guys. So today I need to apologize first. Well, actually, no, I don't. So I did have a couple of weeks off because I realized over Christmas I didn't do that. And I didn't want to experience burnout at the very start of the year. So I thought, maybe now is time for a little break, which was actually perfect because if I am being totally honest, which is what I try to do when I come on and talk to you guys, is that January was pretty shit for me. I had a lot of mental struggles and a lot of different contributing factors going on in my life. And I wasn't my best self, which is why today we are talking all about phoenixing and how we are going to phoenix in 2023. Now, I'm not talking about phoenixing in the illegal terms when it is a company that's liquidated or wound up or abandoned to avoid paying debts. We're not talking about that kind of phoenixing. We're talking about personal phoenixing and rising from the ashes, like the mythological phoenix. But first, I need to explain a little bit about where I'm at to explain to you why I think phoenixing for me is now more important than ever before. So, start of the year, started off, you always go into a new year thinking, this is going to be my year. And then, of course, something will happen along the way. And you always end up thinking, fuck, like this was meant to be my year. I think everyone really thought that with 2020. They were like, 2020 is my year. And then it was literally, for a majority of people, like the worst year of their lives. I'd still say that's probably like one of the toughest years of my life. However, these last few weeks, I've been in such a mental rut due to many things going on. I won't get deep into those, but I found myself isolating myself. And what made it harder was that the last few months before that, I had already isolated myself. And so once I got into like a really bad place at the start of this year, I realized I can't keep this up. I need to speak to my friends. I need to have support around me. And I just need to find something that's better for myself and create a more sustainable mindset so that I can continue on in life and not just let every little thing get to me. And in saying that, I just want to make one thing clear. I'm a girly who does get anxious. I do deal with anxiety, but I don't want people to worry and think I'm in a dark place where something bad could happen. That's not the case at all. I've just mentally felt a very bad blockage, and when that happens, I tend to shut myself off from society without even meaning to. I just like cocoon myself. Cocooning is a good word. I'll just rug up, put on TV, turn off my phone, not speak to anyone, that kind of scenario. But I think this month I got to a point where I was just like, enough is enough. And it took me getting to a place where I hadn't felt like I had put myself in that position. I felt like there were a lot of external contributing factors that made me just very unhappy. And so I had to take a step back and think, what can I do to make my life better? And so I immediately started off, I went home and I visited my parents, and I hung out with my hometown friends who unfortunately I had not seen for a long time. And that is another contributing factor to not being in a good place, not being able to communicate with the people you love, I think is one of the most detrimental things in your life. I'm a big quality time person and I love talking away with friends, and I just want to be in their presence. And I think not having that in my life for so long really was not great for me. So that was the first step. The second step for me was being around my boyfriend and I don't want to be like too much TMI, but like also like physical touch. And I don't mean like in a sexual way. I mean just like being held by somebody and letting them hold you and not just like shying away from it. Because I think when you get in your head, sometimes you would think like maybe you don't deserve that kind of affection. Everyone deserves that kind of affection. Everyone deserves to be loved. Everyone deserves to be hugged. You deserve the world. And if you have an adoring partner who wants to show you these things, you should really open yourself up and be vulnerable to it, because it's such a release and it's such a weight off your shoulders just to be held by somebody and to really just sink into that kind of warmth. Step 3 was cleaning up my space. And I'm still going at it because when you're cocooning, you tend to let the things around you kind of slide. Your house gets messy, your plants begin to die, you get the drill. And so I'm happy to say my plants are looking better. They're growing new leaves, just as I am, which is a really nice metaphor. My house, we're still getting through it. She's still tidying up. It's really hard because I do also live in a small space, so making sure things look tidy all the time can be a bit of a task. But also you'd think living in a small space, it would be much easier for it to stay tidy. But no, as soon as a little bit of clutter happens, like it happens. So I think that also can weigh on my mind. Like I need it to be tidy in order for me to have a clear head. And I know that that is a genuine psychological thing. People need to have a clear space to have a clear mind. Step 4, for me, it doesn't work for everyone because I know a lot of, you deal with things in different ways, but I needed to keep myself busy and I needed to make sure I was getting out of the house, going on walks, getting fresh air, visiting people who I love, making like cute little lunch dates, even just going over to each other's houses, stuff like that. So for the month of February, because January was a low point, month of February, I have so I work Monday to Friday. Now I've got at least one day of the weekend, each day of this month, I have a plan of who I'm seeing, what we're doing, etc. So that's really nice. I've planned my month ahead. Your girl is a scheduled queen. So I know that I won't get to a certain point of the week and be like, oh my gosh, I have no plans, I'm going to be lonely, etc., etc. I've got plans, I'm seeing people, I'm doing things I enjoy, I'm getting out of the house, I'm getting fresh air, I'm doing all the good things for your mental health. And the best part about this and making plans well ahead of time is that you're not only like knowing that you're going to see people, but you're also holding yourself accountable because these people know ahead of time that you're planning on seeing them and you're doing this and it's all planned. It's not a last minute thing. These are solid plans. So you have to hold yourself accountable. You have to go out of the house. You have to see these people. Sometimes you do have to fake a smile in order to feel a real one. So even if you're not in the best place to be seeing somebody, I can almost assure you by the end of the day, you will feel better for doing so. Another huge thing for me, which I really neglected towards end of last year, start of this year, was getting in a good amount of exercise every day. And I would always I tend to be on my feet a lot regardless, but that doesn't always constitute as exercise. You know what I mean? I'm walking a lot, but I'm not giving my body what it needs. And also on top of that, I know I keep promising you guys I'm going to do an episode about having polycystic ovaries, but also one thing I've learned in having PCOS is that the wrong types of exercise can really damage my physical and mental well-being, because it is all about the chemicals within your bodies and how your hormones are reacting to different types of activities. So for me, once again, I've scheduled in every single day what kind of workout I'm doing to really set the mood for the day. A lot of it is Pilates or weights and stuff like that, as with PCOS, your body doesn't respond as well to cardio. So that is something I'm currently working on and making sure I'm doing the right thing for my body so that I am correctly doing the right things, knowing my hormones will react to a certain thing in a certain way. Now it's summertime in Australia, which means it's sunny and it's hot. So We are using this time while we can, especially being a Melbourne girly when it does get cold very quickly, unfortunately, especially with today's climate. So I am trying as much as I can to make sure I do get some sunlight every single day because vitamin D is so important for the body and for the mind. However, we are remembering to wear sunscreen. It's 2023. Having a real tan is not fun, nor is it good for you. We are wearing our sunscreen, we are covering up, we are slip, slop, slapping, because it is so important to not only take care of your mental health by getting the dopamine, but also, and getting that vitamin D, but it's also really important to make sure that you are protecting yourself for like the long run, for longevity. You need to make sure that you're taking care of yourself. And along with this also comes my skincare. When I get really down, my skincare, which is so funny because I love skincare, which I think is such a big thing. When you're passionate about something and you're feeling sad, it is the one thing you lose first because you don't want to, like, if you're wallowing around in a piss pool of pus or whatever, you're not going to want to do the things that make you have fun because you're just going to want to sit in that feeling for ages and cry and be sad, which is, you know what, if you want to do that at the start, that's fine, but you need to get out of there eventually. And so you need to do the things that are enjoyable to you. And for me, a lot of that is self-care. I love doing my hair. I love doing makeup. I love having a really lovely skincare routine at the end of the day that I can just lather myself in lotion and go to bed. But unfortunately, when I'm sad, this is the first thing to slip. And my skin is hating me for it. My pimples are back. My skin is greasy and oily. Again, it's hot as well, so that does not help my cause here. And so I am taking more time to really nourish myself from the inside and out, you know, making sure my skincare is okay, maybe having a little less caffeine because I know that will contribute to my anxiety, and swapping it for something like a tea that is low in caffeine and stuff like that, like a chamomile or a peppermint, you know, something relaxing, something herbal that will just put me at ease throughout the day. So this is what we're calling phoenixing. We've been in the ashes, we've been on fire, we've been through the hard stuff, and now we are going to rise and we're going to go through our rebirth. And these are the steps that I've been taking to put me into that rebirth mindset. And honestly, the more I talk about it, I'm literally smiling right now because I can see where I was a month ago mentally and how drained I was. And even the people around me could physically see it if I didn't tell them what was wrong. Like, I saw a couple of my friends recently and they were like, you just look happy and you look like you're in a really good place. And that is one of the best compliments somebody can give you, to say you look like you're in a really good place and you look happy. I think that's one of the loveliest things you can hear. And it honestly made me emotional because I was like, I haven't been like this recently. I haven't been my best self, and I've been really trying to work hard so I can get to a place where I'm okay with who I am, being me, and getting out there and living life to the best that I can. And it's the steps like these that you have to take in order to get there and put yourself out there and really strive to just be better and do better and just live life. Like, you can't just wallow yourself up. Like, you cannot cocoon yourself and not let yourself live, which is why I'm really now, like, now I feel like my year's starting. I'm not going to say 2023 is going to be my year because I don't want to jinx it. Knock on wood. That was me knocking on wood. I don't want to jinx it, but I'm now like, this is where I get started. It's almost like starting from scratch. We're picking ourselves up. We are putting in the efforts. We're doing the things that we know will help us. That is such a big and important thing. You know what helps you at the end of the day. And only, like, you can have as many people in the world help you, but you need to be your number one fan. You need to support yourself and you need to get through it. You can come out the other side of this a stronger person. And I could not be more thrilled about the fact that I have a social life. What? And I'm seeing friends and I'm going out and I'm also doing things by myself that I'm excited about, and just being independent and also feeling the love around me and embracing it, and also giving my love to the people who I do love and expressing that more openly and freely. And I'm excited for plans that I've made and adventures that I'm going to go on. I'm putting out the long-term things as well so that I can look forward to the future and I can say, I've got this in this many weeks or this many months or next year, and I want to be there for that, and I want to be my best self for that. And the only way I can do that is if I put in the work on myself. I'm not going to make it to that point and enjoy the experience if I stay within this feeling. It'll just keep going and it'll keep manifesting within you, and not in a good way. It will weigh you down. So the reason we're talking about this is because you don't want to do that for the rest of your life. You want to be happy. Nobody wants to be sad. Let's put it out there. Nobody wants this. Nobody wants this lifestyle. It is a mental thing. And I recommend getting help. Of course, it isn't affordable for everyone. Everyone's circumstances are very different. Not everyone feels comfortable talking to a third party about these types of issues, which is why I think it's important for me to also discuss it on the podcast and give tips and tricks about why you should do certain things. Because I've been through it, and I know a lot of my friends have been through it, and we all come from different walks of life, but at the end of the day, we're all human. We all experience very similar things, similar emotions, and we can support each other along the way. I'm not a qualified person, so I cannot give you advice and say this is what will work for you. This is just what works for me, and these are what I recommend. And I think if you're in a position that I was, for instance, maybe give these things a bit of a try and see how it works for you. This is the year for phoenixing. I'm telling you this now. If you think that you need to make a bit of a change in your life to feel better and be better, then it's time to phoenix. We're doing this together. Oh my gosh, should we make a challenge? The phoenixing challenge? It's like the 72 hard challenge, but it's just on mental health. Wait. Oh my God. I'm a genius. That's it. We are phoenixing. We're making this a thing. You know the drill. Go to hotmess_podcast on Instagram and TikTok to find out all about the phoenixing challenge. Now I've made it sound like an ad. I literally just made this up, but it's happening now. We are phoenixing in 2023. Did I say 2022 before? I think I did. Ew, what was I thinking? Anyway, we are phoenixing in 2023. We are doing this together. We are becoming the best versions of ourselves. We're going for our hot girl walks. We are doing our hot girl skincare. We are putting ourselves out there in the best ways possible. I love you guys. Follow Hot Mess Podcast on Instagram, TikTok, wherever you find your podcasts, Spotify, Apple Music, many other places. And don't forget to leave a review and subscribe and like. I love you guys so much. We're going through this together, and I'm here all the way for every step. Love you guys. See you next week for another week of being messy.